Okay, wait a minute. Students, are you able to see the screen now? Hello? Hello?
Yes, sir, we are able to see.
Yeah. One or two of you can unmute, because if none of you are answering, then I may be thinking that you are all not online. So one or two you can unmute. Maybe the leaders, yeah, the group leaders can unmute all four of you. Whatever I am asking, you can answer. From tomorrow onwards, I will ask the question. I will name the student and you have to answer. Okay. Today, this session is orientation. Today is the first day for your posting in the surgery department. So for semester 6 and 7, it is junior surgical clerks. Yeah, okay. You all know me. I don't know, because we are not doing face-to-face teaching. So I am Dr. Silvaraj. I am working as professor of surgery in MMMC for the past 6 years. Okay. I am from India. Okay, at the outset, on behalf of our HOD and all the faculties of Department of Surgery, I welcome you all to the junior surgical clerkship posting. I hope that your surgery clerkship rotation will prove to be a rich and rewarding learning experience. Okay, but unfortunately, we are handicapped. I can do only online teaching. Okay, right? Whatever it is, you just listen to me. Learning is not a spectator sports. You are seeing, what do you mean by spectator sports? You are seeing something. What is this? This is soccer. Okay, what is this? This is cricket. And what is this? This is softball. Okay, in all these games, these are called spectator sports. You see, lot of audience are sitting in the stadium and everywhere. All these these are called spectator sports. Somebody else is playing and you are watching and you are encouraging them. That is what is called spectator sports. But learning is not a spectator sport. It is not somebody else's game. It is your game and you are the player. You have to enter and you have to play. That means you have to actively, you have to, involve in the learning process. So it is students usually they won't learn much just by sitting in class, listening to teachers, memorizing pre-packaged assignments and spitting out answers. So then what they have to do? They must talk about what they are learning. That is what I want. You have to, these sessions should be highly interactive. So you have to ask me some doubts. Whenever I am asking you some question, don't worry, I'll be asking you hundreds of questions. Don't worry. My teaching style is asking question and getting answer. That is how I am going to teach you. So don't worry about it. You should talk. All of you should talk. Okay, so you have to write about it. Not only you are talking, you have to write about it, relate it to past experience and apply it to their daily lives. They must make this part of themselves. Then only, okay, they have to assimilate this thing, this learning. It is not a spectator course. Yeah, another saying, teach me, I will forget. If I am going to just teach you, you will forget. I can talk all these things no, even without these slides. Why we are using this audio visual? Because I am showing you something. Show me and I will learn. And the most important thing is involve me and I will understand. That involvement means you have to do hands-on. You have to examine the patient. Unfortunately, that we cannot do right now. Okay, because you have to do hands-on. You have to examine the patient, you have to interact with the patient, you have to come to the skill lab and you have to do those procedures that we cannot do right now. I can only show you. That's what I'm doing. And I cannot, make you to do the physical examination and all. If you are not willing to learn, no one can help you. I cannot help you. Nobody, in fact, nobody indeed cannot. I mean, nobody can help you if you are not willing to learn. Suppose if you are determined to learn, nobody can stop you. Okay, this you have to. So you have to make that resolution today itself. Now you are posted in surgery. Okay, surgery is a very, very interesting subject. You will realize that. Only thing is you have to develop that interest in the subject. Start reading from today onwards. The next 6 weeks, okay, fully you have to be, I mean, devoted. And because now you are having a lot of time, no, you can read. I will be sending lot of learning resources. You please watch those things, then it will be very easy for you. So what I am going to discuss in this session, under the following headings, I am going to discuss. What is the aims of clinical? Why should we give this clinical training to you? And what teaching and learning methodologies we teachers are going to use to teach you? That is the next topic. I mean, subheading. Then I will be talking about the guidelines on clinical posting. Now, guidelines on clinical posting, now there is no point because we are doing only online class. If you are going to the hospital, okay, that also I will tell you. Must to know core clinical problems. What are the core clinical problems you must know in surgery? That also I am going to talk. And then I will be talking about what are the recommended textbooks for you for the undergraduate student. That also I will show you. And finally, okay, if you are going to finish your posting, what will happen at the end? Okay, we have to assess, no, what knowledge you have acquired during this course. That is what is called assessment or examination. At the end of 6th week, usually we do. But now, since we are doing only online teaching, now the Department of Surgery, we have decided from 3rd week onwards, we will be starting exam. So 3rd week and 4th week, we will be having MCQ exam. 5th and 6th week, we will be having your Viva exam. This is what we have decided. So MCQ means maybe we will give you some 20 question or 20 to 25 question MCQ. Whatever topic we have covered, we are going to give the question only from maybe batch 40. We can ask anything because they have already going to finish their posting in all the posting, clinical posting. They are supposed to sit for their exam, university exam from July last week. But now I think no exam now. So what they are going to do, I don't know. Most probably all of you will go to the next semester. And after going to Malacca, okay, when everything returns normal, then only I think you will sit for the exam. I don't know about it, but that is what I heard. Okay. So what is the aim of clinical training? To develop a competent primary care physician with 3 things, 3 domains. What are those things? You have to acquire, number 1, the theoretical knowledge and the practical skills, and then the correct attitude to treat the common surgical disease at primary care level. Okay. For undergraduates, you need not do any surgery. You need not know about operative surgical procedure, but you should be able to diagnose a case, surgical case. You should know what are the workup. Workup means what investigation you have to do, and then how to examine a patient. I mean, how to elicit history first, and then clinical examination, and then appropriate investigation, make a diagnosis, and after making a surgical diagnosis as an undergraduate, if you are working in a very small peripheral hospital, you have to refer to the concerned specialist. That is what you have to do. Suppose if you are working in a big, I mean, hospital, big hospital, university hospital, then you need not bother because a lot of seniors will be there. That is not a problem for you. Okay. So this is a very famous saying, my favorite saying. Okay, this is by one Sir William Osler. To study the phenomenon of disease without books is to sail an uncharted sea, while to study books without patient is not to go to sea at all. Now we are not going to see, we are not seeing any patients, no. So the most important thing in clinical teaching is patient. Patient is the most important thing. Unfortunately, we cannot do that one. You have to read the book now. Okay, I am going to discuss, okay, the paper-based case or case-based scenarios only I am going to discuss. Okay, in the morning session. I will tell you some case scenarios and what are the history you have to elicit, what clinical, examination you have to do, what investigation, everything we will discuss from tomorrow onwards. Okay? Yeah. This I told you already. The three domains of learning is knowledge, skill, and attitude. This I told you already. So, what is the objective or the purpose of clinical training? Why should we, train you in the clinical, surgery? So, at the end of what is the aim or what is the purpose of your posting? At the end of this clinical posting in surgery, that is after 6 weeks, all of you should be able to do all these things, all these points. Number one, you should be able to elicit a detailed and relevant history you have to ask. Yeah. And then number two is you should be able to do a thorough physical examination. You should be able to identify the patient's problems, okay, in a chronological order. And then immediately, mentally, you have to come to a provisional diagnosis, or, okay, you can make a differential diagnosis also. Then, depending upon this provisional and differential diagnosis, you have to order appropriate investigation, okay. Investigations, broadly, it is laboratory investigation and imaging investigation. So this is the thing. You can do relevant one, and then after ordering, when you are going to get that report, you should be able to interpret the results of the investigation. For example, if you have ordered an abdominal X-ray, you should be able to read that abdominal X-ray. If something is there, free air under diaphragm or small bowel obstruction. Okay, all these things you should be able to, interpret that abdominal X-ray or chest X-ray or blood investigation. That is the data interpretation, it's called. Then, after all investigation, now you will come to a definitive diagnosis. After arriving at a definitive diagnosis, you have to plan appropriate management, and then you have to implement that management. But unfortunately, as undergraduates, you are not permitted to do surgery. Okay, you cannot, even appendicitis, but maybe minor procedures, IND and all, you can do suturing and all, you can do, doesn't matter. But big, surgeries like, say, appendicitis, appendicectomy, or hemorrhoidectomy and all, you cannot do, you should not do. Okay. So in that case, what you have to do, you have to refer elsewhere. I told you already. But suppose there is the last point is you have to undertake some aspect of the management. What does it mean? Suppose you are having a patient with massive hematemesis. Patient is already in shock, hypotensive. What will you do with your patient? You are working in a very small hospital. What will you do? You should not refer that patient if the patient is already in shock. What you have to do? You have to start a 2 peripheral IV line and rush in fluids. Okay, if possible, if blood transfusion is available in your hospital, you can even transfuse with blood. Stabilize your patient, and then you can shift the patient to a higher center. That is what you have to do. That is what is meant by undertake some aspect of the management, and this some aspect must be life-saving treatment. If you are going to refer this patient without, stabilizing the patient, maybe on the way even the patient may die. Who knows? So you should not do that. You have to, whenever the patient is hemodynamically not stable, unstable patient, you should not refer them. You have to stabilize them, and then only you have to. That is the prime aim. That is what is called some aspect of the management. All clinicians, irrespective of whether they are undergraduates or postgraduates, they must know this one, because you all finish your basic life support in Manipal. So you all know how to resuscitate a patient. Yeah, you all have a card also, no? Basic life support certificate you all have. Yeah. So what are the teaching and learning methodologies we teachers we are going to use to teach you? Okay, what we are going, the number one is the bedside small group teaching, which we cannot do right now because we are not, instead of the bedside small group teaching, now we are taking case-based learning or case-based teaching. That is what we are going to do for the next 6 weeks. Okay, starting from today. And then skill lab, that also we cannot do because both of them are highly, you have to go and do it hands-on thing. This bedside small group teaching and skill lab, we cannot do right now. And in skill lab, there are two types of mannequins. One is low fidelity mannequin. This is what we are having it here in MOVAR. Okay. What are the skill labs you have to do is number one, nasogastric tube incision. That is what you are going to do in the first week. Second week, you are supposed to do bladder catheterization. Third week, you have to do digital rectal examination. These are the three procedures. You will be doing it on a mannequin, and these mannequins are low fidelity mannequin. But there are high fidelity mannequins are also available. These are computerized mannequins. This is called, one of the trade name is Metiman. We are having one Metiman in Malacca campus, not in MOVA campus. So when you are going to go for your 8th and 9th semester, you will be taught there high fidelity mannequin. What they will do, okay, trauma scenario. They can create a scenario, and as a group, you have to go and solve the problem. That is the high fidelity mannequin. They will teach you in Malacca. And another important thing is the problem-based learning and case-based learning. This is the bulk. This is what we are doing right now in online teaching. Problem-based learning or PBL, we are doing it on for batch 41 on Thursday afternoon, for batch 40 on Tuesday afternoons, we are doing it. This week PBL is, what is the topic this week? Can you tell me? What is the topic this week for PBL? Hello? Hello?
GI bleeding, doctor.
GI bleeding.
Yeah, okay. I thought that all of you are not online or slept already. Okay, GI bleeding. Have you started reading? I have sent lot of learning resources to you, lot of videos. I think I have sent more than 10 videos. Yeah. So you have to read and come prepared to the class. Okay, and then task-based learning means we will give you some topic and you have to write the assignment. That is assignment. SDL is, you all know, self-directed learning. Okay, that you have to do. And portfolio you have to write, but right now that also we are not doing it. Portfolio means the whatever case you are encountering in the ward, that you have to write in a notebook. That is what is called portfolio. And then in the portfolio, you have to draw some pictures, line drawings. And WhatsApp we are not doing nowadays. Clinical correlation means applied basic sciences, that we are doing now and then. Whenever we are teaching the clinical topics, I am covering the physiology and applied physiology and applied anatomy also. For example, if I am talking about inguinal hernia, definitely I will ask about the anatomy of the inguinal canal. Suppose if I am going to talk about obstructive jaundice, definitely I will ask about the bilirubin metabolism, physiology. That is what is called clinical correlation or applied basic sciences. And you all know what is didactic lectures. Didactic lectures is theory class also. Everything we are doing only online. But what I am doing is, because I have prepared my own videos for almost for all topics, so I am not actually coming and talking during that time, the lecture class. I am uploading my videos and you are watching. I know that batch 41 you are watching. What is the theory class, topic this week, batch 41? Batch 41. Hello? Anybody is there? What is the theory topic for you this week, batch 41 on Wednesday afternoon? I sat with you already.
Benign thyroid disease.
Yeah, thyroid swelling, benign thyroid swellings. Yeah, correct. Yeah. Okay, you must know. That is why That means that you haven't started reading all those things. Wednesday is day after tomorrow. You have to, I sat with you on Saturday itself. Okay. You have to actively surgery. No, I expect a lot of things from you. So you must come prepared to my class. I'm going to ask you plenty of questions. Yeah. And then didactic lectures I was talking about, then flip class. Almost I will be doing all my classes like a flip class only. Flip class means you have to learn on your own. I will give you all the learning resources prior to the actual class itself. Whatever class I am going to take, the learning resources I will give you even some 2, 3, or even 4 days prior to that particular day. You have to learn on your own. Come to the class well prepared, and then in the class I will be asking you questions. Yeah, that is what. And if you have any doubt, okay, you can ask me. That is how I will be teaching, like a flip class only. And e-learning, we are doing now only e-learning. Everything is e-learning. Moodle, you all know how to log in into the Moodle. Okay, even this MS Teams, everything is e-learning only now. Okay, but I was doing this e-learning for the past maybe 5 years. I launched one YouTube channel for teaching the. Actually, I started it in 2016. Yeah, 2016 for our students only. But because YouTube is a international platform, yeah, many students now, even from all over the world, the medical students are now watching that channel. That is the power of the online or the internet. You see, I can reach sitting here. I can reach all of you. I can reach not only Malaysia. I can reach India. I can reach US, UK. All nations they are watching. That is the power of this platform, internet. Okay, right. Now at the end of the 6th week, what we are going to do? I talked about the exam, but now it is useless. We are not going to follow this pattern. This is the actual one we follow, but now I told you we are going to have some exam for you, 2 MCQs and 2 Vivas. We are going to do it. Maybe we will start from 3rd week or 4th week. Okay, I'm not. Maybe, yeah, I think we are starting in the 3rd week, 3rd and 4th, and then 5th and 6th. 3rd and 4th is MCQ, 2 weeks. And then one of the days we will use it for MCQ. We will give you, I will upload in the MS Teams, and you have to give your answer. I did it for the last group also. Only once I did. But for you, we are supposed to do twice. Maybe, I don't know. I have to discuss with Prof. Miyar. If he wants me to, for maybe one day, we will conduct for both the groups. Another day, he will conduct for both the groups. Let us do 1 week. I mean, 1 week. 3rd week I will do. 4th week he may do. And then Viva, both of us will do. Maybe from Malacca also somebody will come for the Viva. That is the 2 things right now we are going to do. But actually what we used to do is, at the end of your clinical posting, you are supposed to go for a clinical exam. That is end of posting, clinical exam. One long case you have to do. And block test comprising 25 single best answer question, that is SBA, and 2 MEQs. Yeah, this is the block test. And we used to conduct either the ASCII exam or ASPE exam. Then Viva, we are going to do it. Daily assessment. This we can do only if we are doing bedside teaching. And then the portfolio. So majority of this exam we cannot conduct right now. Maybe we are modifying. This is we are doing right now. Maybe after everything is becoming normal, when you return to the campus, then okay, we will compensate by conducting some exam. I think we are going to work on Saturdays also. All Saturdays also going to be working days, and we will compensate. Okay, coming to the recommended textbooks. This is for clinical surgery. So clinical surgery, what we are recommending from our department is the Norman Browse Introduction to Symptoms and Signs of Surgical Disease. This is what we are recommending. Okay, or you can read this book also, Hamilton Bailey's Demonstration of Physical Science, or the SRB's Clinical Method. Suppose if you have already bought Clinical DAS, that is also acceptable. You can use, but please read only one book. Don't try to read everything. You will get confused. What we are recommending is the Norman Bross. Okay. This book is also very good. SRB is also, this is from our own Manipal faculty, Professor Sri Ram Bhatt, his book, this book. Yeah. To theory book. Okay. Undoubtedly, this is the Bible for surgery. Bailey and Love, 27th edition. Okay. This is a British book. Okay. And okay, what is the next book? Essentials of Surgery. This is an American book. See, whatever the British or the UK fellows are using, the Americans, they won't accept. No, they are having their own book. This is for the undergraduate surgery book. None of the US undergraduates are reading Bailey and Love. They are reading only the second book. Okay, this is UK book, British. This is American. So the last one is, this is Indian. Okay, this is the Indian textbook. You can use either Bailey and Love or SRB. Okay, allowed. If you want, if you planning to go for a USMLE and US, okay, you read this book, because this is only they are following that. Okay, some other books. This is for case files in surgery. This is very useful for your MEQ exam. And then the surgical recall also, excellent book in a question answer format. One side there will be question, another side answer. So you can hide the answer, area. You read the question, try to answer and look, verify whether you are answering correctly or not. This is an excellent book, surgical recall. And this is for your ASCII exam, ASCII in surgery, core clinical skills. So these are this book is okay. This is by our own senior faculty, Prof. MVK. His book. This is also very good book, very good handy book. And all other things you need not. This is the most important slide. This is the core clinical problems you must know. 18 core clinical problems. The first 9 are GI problems. The second 9 are non-GI problems. So what are the GI problems? You must know is acute. This is what I am going to take in the next 6 weeks. One by one, I will take, okay, one day right lower quadrant pain, another day right upper quadrant pain. Like that I will take. Okay. What are the problems? Let me read once. Acute right lower quadrant pain, acute right upper quadrant pain, acute epigastric pain, acute left lower quadrant pain, dysphagia, abdominal lumps. This is also area wise. Right iliophosae lump, left iliophosae lump, epigastric lump, right hypochondrial lump, left hypochondrial lump. Okay, like that. Or lumbar lumps in the lumbar area. Like that, abdominal lump also, okay, quadrant wise. You must know. And then upper GI hemorrhage, lower GI hemorrhage. We are going to discuss these two things in this week's PBL. That is what I am going to, I will, batch 41 I am going to take. So be prepared. Please read everything about upper GI hemorrhage, lower GI hemorrhage. I think I have shared many videos for, I think 3 videos in upper GI hemorrhage, some 6 videos for lower GI hemorrhage. I've already shared with you. Please go through all those things and come prepared. In the PBL class, I will be showing you some case scenarios, and I am just going to ask you question after question. That's all. Yeah. And then obstructive jaundice. Okay, one of the weeks we are having obstructive jaundice also as our, the PBL. Okay. This pain abdomen, no, that is also acute abdomen. One day we will discuss everything. So we will be covering almost everything except dysphagia, because dysphagia is not that common. And then the non-GI tract problems are breast lump, mastalgia, nipple discharge. This also is very important. One of the days we will cover in the, this is not in our PBL classes. So we will take in the case-based learning. One day we will take how to approach a case of breast lump. And then neck swelling, again, this is also one of the PBL topic, thyroid swelling. Groin swelling also I will take in the morning case-based learning. Scrotal swelling also along with groin swelling we will take. Limb ischemia also I took. Only last week I took for the previous group. Limb ischemia, both acute and chronic limb ischemia. Varicose veins also we used to take. And then the renal ureteric hematuria, all will come under hematuria. That is also in PBL. So majority of these topics, these 18 core clinical problems will be covered in your PBL classes. Totally, we are having 5 PBL classes. Okay, this week, what is the PBL? This week is GI bleeding. Next week, you will be having acute abdomen. After that, you will be having obstructive jaundice. After that, you will be having neck swelling, that is thyroid swelling. That is, and then after that, you will be having hematuria. So totally, there are 5 PBL topics. So we will be covering majority of these problems in your PBL classes, and whatever is left over, we will cover in the morning case-based scenarios. Okay, this is a rough idea of what is your curriculum for your P2S1. Okay, let me enlarge and show it to you. So semester 6 and 7, orientation, that is what I am doing right now, beginning. Introduction to history taking and physical examination, which I am going to take tomorrow morning. And then you must know what is universal precaution, what is personal protection equipment. Now it becomes very famous. Last year when I asked the students, nobody knows what is PPE or PPD or PPE, personal protection equipments. Now everybody knows what is PPE. You all know now because of the corona, thanks to the COVID-19. And you should also know what is surgical scrubbing. This is number 1. And then number 2 is approach to a case of abdominal pain and abdominal lump. Both you must know. And then introduction to upper GI and lower GI hemorrhage, which we are going to cover this week's PBL. Approach to a case of obstructive jaundice, okay, that we are going to cover in one of our PBL classes. Approach to a patient with dysphagia, we are not, so far we haven't given importance to this one, but I think your group, I will be taking one of the days how to approach a case of dysphagia. Introduction to a case of goiter, thyroid swelling, we are taking in PBL. Okay, breast lump, I told you already. Vascular surgery, both arterial and venous pathologies. That is limb ischemia and the varicose vein. And principles of diagnosing and managing major traumas, including burns. Burns also is very important. They ask, I think, for batch 36, I think so. Okay. We asked this at one of the MEQs. Yeah. Approach to a case of inguinal swelling, that is groin swelling, actually. Total swelling also, I told you. Then approach to a patient of hematuria, bladder outlet obstruction, and ureteric colic. And then that is over. Theory part is over. The last 2 is how to do nasogastric tube insertion and bladder catheterization, and then digital rectal exit. These are the 3 skill lab procedures. This also you will be doing. This is your syllabus or your curriculum for your PTS1. If you know all these things, easily you can walk through your P2S1 exam. So this format of history taking, tomorrow I will talk about it. Today I am not going to talk anything. Tomorrow I will show you, to begin with, I will show you the same slide tomorrow, but what are the components of history taking. I will talk elaborately about this tomorrow. Today I am not going to talk anything about how to take history in a patient. I am just talking only orientation today. This I will talk tomorrow elaborately. And then physical examination, I will be talking only the general examination, and what is the other things also I will just tell you, but I concentrate only on how to do a general examination in a patient. That is what I am going to do tomorrow. So what is the aim of surgical education? It is not just transmission of information. I am just keep on talking. It is only a monologue. You should also talk, no? This is not just transmission of information, but it is transformation of learners. Something should happen inside you that should transform you. After learning something, you have to change, no? And I have to make you as a lifelong learner. I have to inspire you. I have to motivate you to learn, not just for the exam. Lifelong, you should learn. Unfortunately, knowingly or unknowingly, you have chosen a profession where the lifelong learning is a requirement. If you are not going to update continuously, you will be outdated. That is the thing. So you have to learn continuously in our profession. Otherwise, you cannot survive. Okay, that is my aim. So what do you mean by this transformation? Okay, you all know this caterpillar will become a pupa. Okay, then the pupa will slowly, it will become a full-blown butterfly. So all of you are today you are in a stage of caterpillar. Soon, maybe after some 1 or 2 weeks, you will become a pupa. And then slowly you have to mature. At the end of the 6th week, you will gain a lot of knowledge in surgery. Please follow me. Please read whatever I am sharing with you. If you go through that or if you watch that, okay, it is very easy. No, you can just watch what I'll be talking, or you can see my slides. If you don't want to hear my voice, okay, go and see the slides are also. Slides also you can see on, you can read on your own. So you have got lot of, plenty of time now. So you have to read. Okay, this is what I mean by transformational learning. So you have to transform like this after the 6 weeks posting, and you are seeing a plant there. Learning is like growing a plant. If you want to grow a plant, when will you water the plant? Will you water one day and then no water for another next 5 days, and then plenty of water one day and no water? Will you do like that? Or every day you have to water? Okay, little quantity, whatever is needed to the plant, you have to water. No, like that. If you want to learn something, you have to learn every day, not just one day. You are reading for 10 hours and another 4 days no reading at all. That is not correct. Or you are reading only just before the exam. Okay, that is also not correct, because learning is almost similar to growing the plant. So every day you have to water the plant, no, for it to grow. Like that, every day you have to read. Then only learning will take place. You need not read 10 hours. You need not read not even 4 or 5 hours. At least daily you read 1 to 2 hours is enough. Concentrated quality reading. Yeah, with interest. Then okay, then only it is, you start reading from today onwards. Yeah, that is my advice for you. Okay. So what is this? It is a total immersion experience, because we are going to share the case-based teaching only. The clinical cases, actual cases only, the case scenarios we are going to share with you, and even prior to that, whatever topic I am going to discuss, I will share with you lot of learning resources. Please cooperate with me, then you will also enjoy. I will also enjoy your, for teaching you. So if you are answering all my questions, no, then okay, I will become very interested. So I will think that this batch or this group of students are very brilliant. I also will be very much interested in teaching you. If you are not answering, none of you are answering, none of you are opening your mouth, then what will happen to me? I also will lose the interest, no? So you please actively involved in the discussion. So it is a total immersion experience. So it is like a ocean. Surgery is like a ocean. So you have to dive deep and enjoy your posting. So the learning should be joyful. No, it is not. Nobody is compelling you to read. You have to enjoy learning. Yeah, that is my aim. So please read everything. So nothing is impossible if it is properly planned and executed. So you are having 6 more weeks. You are going to be with us for 6 more weeks. From today onwards, I am not asking you to read for 4 hours, 5 hours, or 6 hours. No, 1 to 2 hours only daily. Whatever I am teaching in the morning or in the afternoon session, read that on that day itself. But majority of my classes, I have shared all the materials. Even these slides are, this slide which I am talking right now, this also I have shared to you already. Yeah. whatever I'm going to take, I will be sharing with you. Okay. This is a famous saying you all know. You can lead a horse to water, but you cannot make him drink. I cannot make you drink. No, you have to willingly, you have to come and you have to drink. You have to enjoy. If I am teaching you, okay, if I am sharing you, if I am able to motivate you or inspire you, okay, you will learn. Yeah, I know that. A good teacher will lead the horse to water. An excellent teacher will make the horse thirsty first. Then, okay, he will take the horse to the water. Definitely the horse will, drink plenty of water. That is what I am trying to do. Please develop that interest in the subject. Surgery is really interesting. Yeah, then you will enjoy the posting. Okay, thank you very much. This is our department. Okay, yeah, but unfortunately, okay, this was taken some 5 years ago. So this is our Prof Nachi, the man with the red tie. Okay, and this is the tall center. This is Prof MVK. Okay, and okay, of course, this is me. Okay. All others are, majority of them are not here now, right now. Only 1, 2, 3, 4 of us are here right now. Okay. Thank you very much. And I think this is a batch 31 students. Okay. Right. You all know this is my teaching resources. You all know youtube.com/C Surgical Educator. That is my YouTube channel. Whatever the teaching videos, you can go there and you can see. And the teaching slideshare.net/baby surgeon. These are the two links you can use and you can read. So now, okay, I think I am closing the thing and okay.
Bye.
Hello, students.